Hey, everybody, and welcome to another dope live stream with your girl, Suzette Speaks. I want to welcome you. It's the Suzette Speaks Show. Can't wait to chit chat with each and every one of you. I am grateful for all the love and support. First of all, big up to all the new subscribers. If you're new to me right here on YouTube, I welcome you. I'm grateful that you found me. If you've been enjoying the conversations, please understand that we're just going to keep getting better, y'all. I am so excited about today's discussion, but you know I got to handle business first. First and foremost, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share. We know that the algorithm does what it does. Drop them comments. I see y'all in the chat already. Let me know where you're watching from. I have an extraordinary self-love and mindset coach with me today. Don't worry, we're gonna stir it up because we have been talking about, sometimes unwillingly, I can speak for myself, real love for ambitious women. Are y'all ready though? No, the question is, are y'all really ready though? Real love and ambitious women. Sometimes I'm getting the feeling that some of us may believe those two words cannot go in the same sentence and cannot coexist. But according to my guest, she wants us to remain optimistic. She wants us to remain positive, and I'm right with her because there is a lot to be hopeful for, particularly for my ladies. So I know the gentlemen are in the chat. I know the ladies are in the chat. Drop a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. I'm going to read some of your comments. I'm going to invite her up. And of course, we're going to have some back and forth later. So get ready for an interesting exchange and a conversation, really. I appreciate each and every one of you. My new subscribers, you guys don't even know how much you have helped my channel not only grow, but help me along on this journey. And I appreciate you from the depths of my heart, understanding that I'm about a month and change into the YouTube game. And we are already talking to people from last night. I was on with people from Joburg and London, the DMV, Chi-Town was in the building, Philly represented, ATL, of course, all over. Tennessee, Nashville came on up. I was so ecstatic. I can't even pick the right adjective because there's a sense of overwhelm that I'm experiencing. And I know you guys be like, well, is she a lawyer? Well, maybe y'all don't know that. So I'm gonna do a quick introduction for my new subs. But yes, I am Suzette Speaks. This is my show. We have been having the most meteoric growth I could have ever imagined, thanks to one TLA. If you have come to my channel by way of the lead attorney, welcome. He is my big bro on these YouTube streets. He kind of roughed me up a little bit, gave me some, what should I say, training by fire at the beginning of our series. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the Lead Attorney's channel, as well as right here on my channel. I have the previous episodes where I was on his stream, and I ended up talking about something I'm so uncomfortable talking about. I can't even tell y'all. I was talking about dating, relationships, and what y'all really wanted to know, since you were so nosy, I love you, is why are you, Sue, single? Now, I did not have an answer for that. I'm getting a clearer understanding of what might be, say, holding me back, let's say. Y'all want me on these dating apps? I don't know. Y'all want me to do some more besides the grocery store and the friend circle. I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. But there's also some things I'm learning right along with you that the lead attorney, especially on last night's stream, if you didn't catch it, lead attorney on the hot seat, please watch it. When he illuminated us in terms of, what he saw as a 20-year divorce attorney as being the real crux of the matter, the real issue, the real reason why marriages fall apart. Were y'all listening? I hope I wasn't the only one listening. When he talked about compatibility of personality, I was like, goodness gracious, not okay, height, weight, dress, what? Nope, not none of that, not beauty, what they say beauty fades, not any of that, but more so about the personality compatibilities. And it was very enlightening for me. He was teaching. It was very informative. You guys seem to like our chemistry. Thank you so much. But most importantly, I think we got an insight into what a real high value man wants. Can y'all agree? Drop some comments. First of all, get them likes up. I know I'm doing better than what these likes say. If you don't know, I'm a very animated, very just lighthearted person. So don't take anything personally that I say. I mean it with love, but I really do need y'all to get them likes up. Hit that like button. And if you're brand new, welcome. Hit that subscribe button. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Suzette Speaks. I'm a TV host and attorney here in South Florida. I have a channel that is dedicated towards empowerment from the inside out and healing. And this show today, y'all better be ready. This show today is going to talk about that elusive relationship that apparently not only so many women, can I just be real, so many men apparently, hello chat, are desiring but do not have. And we had a show with Dr. Tasha, thank you guys, go back and watch it, that said, please don't ask me why I'm single. But y'all still asking though. But it was a very, very good and thoughtful show. She'll be back a couple Saturdays on I think it's the 20th. And we kind of been hearing what it is that women think, what it is that men think. And I'm hoping that we could find a way to have a meeting of the minds when both parties are serious. Now, I'm not talking to y'all that's out here in these streets trying to fake like you want to be with somebody, want to be married to keep access to people. We're not talking about that type of relationship. I'm talking about real, true blue, transparent, to the heart, to the soul type relationship with the hope of marriage. That's what I'm talking about when we say real love. So if you out here skating, throwing, as I call it, lyrics to this one and that one, whether male or female, because lyrics can come from both sides now, we are going to explore what we should, hopefully in preparation for that special someone, be doing. Now, a lot of us think that the preparation is the gym. We've heard a lot about that. Preparation is what? Y'all drop a comment. What did you think the preparation was? But I think sometimes, as one of my callers, my subscribers who came up yesterday said, there's been a heavy emphasis on the physical, but there's so much growth with an individual that has to take place in the heart space, in the mind space, maturity, both psychological and spiritual, that has to take place so we don't marry the wrong people. Oh, y'all mad? Okay, well, we're going to start this conversation. I'm going to read these comments. I want to welcome you. I've had so many super subs already. Okay, I'm not monetized, but y'all can help build the channel. Show some love. Y'all could drop the Cash App. I had so much love last night from the Cash App. I am going to read my names again. Apparently, y'all online blessing me and blessing the channel. So I really just grateful for the love from the Cash App. Thank you to my moderator. Shout out to Gaston's World. Shout out to RM and shout out to Gail. One of the best, if not the best moderator out here. Thank y'all for showing me love. I want to go back to tell everybody thank you. Y'all drop some comments. Get them likes up. How about that? Get them likes up, please. Get the likes up, please, so that people can share and see, hopefully, this stream in the algorithm. So I'm going to read some of your comments. I want to know where you are coming from. Shout out to the big bro lead attorney. I want to see if you're in the building. Thank you, Odetto. Chef, been a true blue subscriber. Thank you so much and welcome. Ace, thank you for the email. Forget about marrying the wrong person. There are too many having children with the wrong. Oh, Ace, why are you starting there, Ace? Ace, we're trying to start positive, Ace. Ace B giving some great advice, but we are not here to judge that. We are here to hopefully create enough heart space so that we're ready for the positive things to come. So Ace want to hit the right two punch directly. Yes, give a LOL because I don't know what's going on with Ace right in the face. TLA gave you street cred. Thank you, D03. I don't mind. Big bro put me on. I don't mind. Everybody needs a mentor. Everybody needs a mentor. So I thank TLA for being that for me. Shout out to my super chatters. You can show some love on the Cash App if you are so inclined. Shout out to Tracy Dixon. Thank you. Marshawn, what's up? Thank you so much for your gift. Charles Brooks, thank you so much to my super chatter, Charles Brooks. Thank you. Letty Carter, appreciate you. TC23, thank you. Super chatter, thank you. Anthony Minor, thank you. Terry Bedgood, I appreciate you. Kellyanne Johnson, Melissa Jane, my sister from here in South Florida, and anyone else. I hope I didn't miss nobody. And Dexter. Oh my God. Dexter, thank you. Matthews. Woo, child, I almost forgot one of my aces he's been supporting on the last few streams. Thank you, Dexter. I appreciate you. And I hope I got everybody. Roland Crosby, thank you for that super chat. Roland Crosby, thank you so much. Holding me down. Dexter Matthews, Tracy Dixon. I hope I caught everybody. Charles Brooks. You guys, the love has been overwhelming. So I appreciate you. There's no show without you. So I want to thank you. As I said, typically my channel is going to be concerned with matters that help to heal and build a human being from the inside out. Today is one such show. So if you are inclined and interested in self-growth and self-development, this is the show for you. I also will be kicking it in a legal frame of mind on Saturday. I told you guys I have a wonderful guest, Mr. Last name Marcus, Warren Marcus. He'll be talking from, he's a biochemist, a mechanical engineer, talking about development. He has worked on research and development of COVID vaccines. It's going to be amazing. So I can't wait for Saturday. And there's so much going on right now with this Ahmaud Arbery jury selection that has me a little bit worked up. Are you guys following this? Ahmaud Arbery, the gentleman who unfortunately was, I don't want to say hunted down in Georgia. They just selected his jury, y'all. You know how the jury selection went? 11 white people and 1 African American. Little I don't know. I got a little bit of concern. It does raise eyebrows. You know, I believe in letting the judicial system do what it's supposed to do. I do believe in our founding documents. I thank God for them. But we have to make sure we keep an eye out on this Ahmaud Arbery case, y'all. I can't go into it in this stream. I might do a quick stream tomorrow about it. I was watching and watching things unfold, and watching the prosecution kind of object to jury selection, which has taken quite some time. I wanted to probably go over what jury selection is like and give you guys a little bit of insight on that. If you're interested in that, drop a comment, but it was moving me today. So I usually bring you topics on Let's Talk Justice that move me. And so hopefully you too will be able to, gain some new insight. So if you're interested in the Ahmaud Arbery case, let me know so I can prepare. I'm thinking about maybe doing a quick stream, even if it's a quick stream, just to get your opinion on it and go over some of the case facts. All right. So today's stream, I have a fabulous lady out of Orlando, Florida. Actually, she's from Springfield, Illinois in the building originally. Now out of Orlando, she coaches women in self-love from around the country. So I will put her website in the description in case you need her services. Everybody needs a coach apparently in some area of their life. So we do not have it together. I'm one of them. And again, outside of my comfort zone, we still want to, based on your response, I guess, delve deeper into what makes people ready for relationships and what makes relationships work. So she is living proof. She is married, y'all. Got married, as she told me I could say it, at 36. Hello, a little bit later. Hallelujah. There's hope. Some people are asking, should we give up? According to some of the things that we've heard in prior conversation, but we're not giving up. We're not giving up. There's good men out there, and we want to know how we can be prepared for them as much as we can. And again, I'm talking past the physical. I'm talking from the inside. Ladies, y'all ready? Gentlemen, are y'all ready? Y'all ready? Get them likes up. What's up? Get them likes up so I can bring her on, show her love. Y'all ready? I told her this was going to be a great show, great opportunity. She is excited. Y'all get them likes up. I told her I have a very interactive audience. So she's prepared. She's scared. She knows, she's good at what she does. And she has a heart for women. I actually, funny enough, I'll tell you real quick before I bring her up how we met. I told you guys one of the parts of my life outside of law. Can you imagine? Lawyers have other things they are interested in, other interests, is I was having pre-COVID live events for women in particular to help them, again, get free. That's the best way I could put it, get free. There was so much I personally was carrying that I didn't realize. I felt like I didn't have people to talk to. I felt like the superwoman syndrome had taken me over. People think and assume you have it all together, so you start playing that part. I don't know if y'all drop some comments. I don't know if y'all know what I'm talking about. If you the sister that always got it together, if you the cousin that always got the answer, if you the one that they always want you to send some cash out, somebody knows what I'm talking about. And you feel at times like you breaking down on the inside. I don't know if y'all know what I'm talking about, but I'm much more comfortable speaking of my own personal, which I call it mental, psychological, and spiritual struggles, confidence struggles. I'm much more comfortable talking about that than relationships. So we're going to intertwine some of that today. But I heard I had been doing them around South Florida, Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Miami. And I heard a call in my spirit. This was probably spring 2019, if I remember, Casandra. I think it was spring 2019. I heard go to Orlando. So I don't know about Orlando like that. Everybody's been there or most people have been there. If you're able to get down here for, Disney World. Everybody knows Orlando for Disney World. And I heard go to Orlando and do an event, do a woman's empowerment workshop. And I was like, Lord, what am I going to do? Well, thankfully I have a cousin in Orlando. I have a cousin. And I was like, 2 cousins. Boy, sorry. Shout out to Meg and Melissa. Leaving out one, Meg and Melissa. And I called them and I was like, yo, I think I want to do one of my workshops. I usually have like 20 to 50 women show up. We have a speaker. We get into deep, heart-centered, interpersonal growth topics. So I said, okay, can y'all find me somewhere? One of the cousins said, okay, I know a great little coffee shop. They have a good little private back room. Probably won't be too expensive. Because I was like, I don't know if people are going to show up. I don't know people in Orlando like that. I'm a South Florida girl. So I go, so she gave me the number. I didn't, sight unseen. I'm going by what cuz says. She's like, yeah, it could hold 15 to 20, maybe 25. I called them. Shout out to Downtown Credo. That's the name of it. Downtown Credo. And I was like, okay, we're going to do it. So I book it and start planning. Let me start buying some Facebook ads in Orlando. Like asking cousins, ask your friends to come, that kind of thing. Like your friend. One thing I'm really good at, guys, is planning events, but I don't really have the most confidence around it. And people show up all the time. And I'm like, why do I think all the time that people are not going to show up? So people show up. And I just remember that was such a transformational day. We booked the place because I stay with the other cuz. I bring my speakers with me, 2 of my girlfriends. I'm like, this is what I want the subject matter to be. One of my friend girls. And actually, I think for December, I'm going to ask her to come on the show. She had a challenge with infertility and she don't mind because her whole platform is about infertility and her struggles with infertility and how that's the next thing. We're going to get married. But then again, we might be facing these struggles. She couldn't have a baby. Everybody's asking you about the baby. When the baby. And she gave, shout out to Sandra Ellador. I'm going to see if she could come on in December. One of the most fantastic workshops I've had. I usually held them monthly. So Orlando, this was January 2019. Y'all get it right. So anyway, so we do our exercise. So I bring one of my girls, Rose, from down here, as well as Sandra. We carpool. Sandra, we drive her truck. This is what I'm saying. We gully the thing. Y'all think it's all pretty and we go, we all together and Sue can rent car. Well, I was like, yo, who want to drive? How can we carpool and save some money? Who want to drive? We can take your truck. Perfect. So I go with a team, y'all. 2 young ladies. Shout out to Natalie and Val. Came to several workshops and I was like, I did an all call. I need volunteers to come to Orlando. It's almost like you got to bring people with you. Val, Natalie, shout out to you. We make it like a girls' weekend, like a sleepover. Get to cuz house. It is like, welcoming, open arms. She has a big, thankfully, space. So we were all comfortable. We all had rooms and everything. And it was just a wonderful, when I tell you that workshop was transformational. When my main speaker, shout out to Sandra, I'm going to ask Sandra to come on this show. Sandra talked about her struggles with infertility and not feeling like she was enough. And I know the feeling, because when people see you and you're not married, people make this assumption that you're not enough, that you're not complete, because you're not married. I'm going to bring up my speaker now. I'm going to ask her to come up. Welcome. Welcome to my speaker. Miss Casandra Austin-McDonald, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me on your platform. And hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. How are y'all? Suzette, I can first resonate so deeply with the feeling and the tears that you are experiencing right now, with feeling like you're not enough because of this one area in your life that is still what seems to be incomplete. When I started my journey many years ago, I was a single mama before I met the Mister. That's what I call him on social media. And for a long time, I was constantly being asked, when was I going to settle down? And when was I going to meet someone? And being educated and having a career and raising my son, that was one of the areas in my life that felt like a huge sore spot for me. And so I can deeply empathize with you on what that feels like, to feel like, it's something that stands out to a lot of people. But it's my highest intention that we have a powerful, empowering conversation today that, sharing some truth bombs, of course, but also giving people some new perspectives so that we are shifting directions and gears here and leaning more into the possibilities that exist and not feeling like it's too late or that you're too old, because I believe that if it was possible for me and it's been possible for many of my private clients, it's possible for anyone else. And so with that being said, I'm not quite sure. I know Suzette.
All right, I'm getting it together.
Okay.
So tell them what you do when you do coach, Cass. Okay. Give me a second. Thank you.
I'll just share a little bit about what I do then. Well, I am a self-love and mindset coach and a personal growth strategist. So what that means is that I specifically work with driven, ambitious, but yet empathetic women who are looking to level up and win in their love life and in their life. And so I help women with shifting their mindset, elevating their self-love, doing inner healing work, and then positioning themselves for the partner that they desire and showing them how to do that. We live in a totally different society, a totally different world. Thank you, everyone. I'm seeing everyone tuning in and welcoming me. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. We live in a world that is so different from what our parents and our grandparents and our ancestors came up in. And a lot of us, myself included, was the single, independent, strong Black woman. How many of y'all can relate to that? That was me. That was my story. Also, I was a single mom. And so I had this journey where I knew how to go get it. I knew how to hustle. I knew how to make something happen. I knew how to provide because that's what I had to do as a single mom. But yet I had this desire in my heart. And so when I was in my mid to late 20s, actually, I realized that if I don't start making some type of changes, that the desire I have to have that lifelong partnership and relationship may not happen. And I'll share more about my story as we go on. I know Suzette and I are going to have some conversations about that. But, I had to do some inner healing. I had to face my own demons and slay my own dragons and face the woman in the mirror. And I had to level up my mindset. I had to shift some limiting beliefs that I had. I had to heal some old wounds. I had to shift my attitude. I had to show up differently in the way that I was going to present in relationships compared to how I was presenting in my ambitious endeavors. Those two different versions of ourselves that show up for that. And so there was a lot of changes that I personally had to make from the inside out. But as a result of that, I am happy to say I am a product of my own work. I met my husband, over 7 years ago. We're working on our 8th year now of being together, married for a little over 3 years. We have a beautiful relationship. We co-parent with our respective children's mothers. We have a healthy relationship, a loving relationship. And I feel like I cracked a code, if you will, of this whole independent, strong woman syndrome, and how to lean more into not only my womanhood, but also into my desires of having that lifelong partnership, because I don't believe that God put us on this planet to do life alone. And so that's why I'm super excited about having this conversation with you all, because we have to break free from this mindset that we were here to do life alone, because I just don't believe that we were.
Y'all, I can't get it together. I'm trying. Coach, I didn't even know that was there, Coach. I didn't even know that was there, Coach. I didn't even know that was there. I'm gonna go lie. Coach, what is so interesting is I tell people all the time, I started workshops because I needed healing. I started my conference because I needed healing.
Mm-hmm.
And I oftentimes, like I said, in my own walk, it's amazing that so many people feel like you do.
Yeah.
So many people have the same fears. So many people have the same, what should I say, stresses of the expectations that you do, that it resonates beyond me. So this conversation might very well be for me. I hope it's for y'all too.
Yeah.
But there's so many parts of us, and I'm saying as women, that we deal with, that we mask, that sometimes doesn't get to come to the fore until you can't hold it. All these conversations I've been having, Coach, about relationships.
Yeah.
And as I said before, I'm a private person when it comes to relationships. But there's a reason I think the Father above has me in this space and has me trying to do what we did live in this space here on YouTube. So I am grateful to you. I am thankful. I know I'm in good hands. I know we are in good hands, guys. When it comes to, talking about relationships in this way, it is a very personal thing to me. I'm sure you guys have gotten that. Trying to get my face together. But Coach Cass, I'm gonna turn up to you for like a minute more.
Sure.
We were talking before, we got on. When we're picking the topic, we were talking about misconceptions about what it takes to, quote, be ready. And are we really ready to find love? Do we think we're ready to find love? Are we trying to push something maybe that we should let happen organically? Or, in a lot of the other streams I've been a part of, we've heard this resonance of women have to pursue. Let me ask you, did you pursue your husband?
Well, when my husband and I met,
Cass, I can't do my face like this.
I'll just share the story real quick, if that's okay.
Yeah, no, go to the long story, because I have to fix my face.
She's like, go to the long story. Yeah. All right. So when my husband, I actually just shared this story on, I think like episode 91. I have a podcast called the Growth Through It Podcast, and I shared the story of how we met, but I'll share it here with you all. So a girlfriend of mine invited me to a party with her. And I did not know anyone there. She was the only person that I knew there. And I actually didn't want to go. The day before, I had just flown back from Florida to Illinois, bringing my son back home from seeing his dad's side of the family. And I was a little annoyed by that. For those of you who are co-parents, you know how that can be sometimes. And I just wasn't feeling it. But I went anyway. And that is actually where I met my husband. It was such a beautiful experience going somewhere where I didn't know anyone, but I believe because of the back part and the back end of all the work I had done on myself, with myself, for myself, led me up to that point where I was ready. And so the night that I met him, I was looking across the room and I saw him and I was like, okay, he got a little swagger going on over there. I see you. And then we ended up at some point in the evening sitting at like this big old round table. and having a conversation. And I could hear that he had an accent. So my husband is actually from Jamaica. He came to the States when he was about 14, 15 years old. So I call him Jamaican because he's been here in the States longer than he was born and raised in Jamaica. But I heard this accent and I asked him, I was like, where are you from? And he told me where he was from. And it got to the point where there's probably about 10 to 12 people at this big round table, and everybody's conversing and having a conversation and having a good time. But he and I were sitting across from one another, and I wanted to continue to speak to him more privately. So there was an empty chair beside me, and I patted the chair and said, why don't you come sit by me? And he did. And shortly thereafter, he asked for my number. And he's been calling me every day since. But what I like to share with women is that, you know, some women talk about shooting your shot and saying like, we shouldn't have to do that. I believe what I did in that moment was a version of shooting your shot. But really what I was doing was I was welcoming him into my space and saying, you are welcome in this space. And what he did with that invitation was on him. And you know, obviously he accepted the invitation and he came and sat next to me. But sometimes as women, you have to open up. You have to open up so that you can receive. A lot of times women are closed off. Your arms are always folded. You are always in this guarded position. And the reason for that is because you have already been hurt, wounded. You've experienced heartbreak and betrayal. You've experienced rejection and abandonment. And if you don't resolve those resentments, what happens is you start to close off and you don't even realize that you're closed off in your body language. You're closed off in your posture. You're closed off in your heart and your spirit. You're closed off in the way that you speak to people, the way that you present. And men, they can see that and they can feel it. And so when you are so closed off, what message you're sending out is I'm not available for this. I'm not available for love. I don't want it. And I'm not here for it. So what they're going to do is they're going to go around and go to the person who is. And so what happened is in that moment, I was open because of all of this work I had done up until that point. And I was ready to receive. And so when I saw the invitation available that, hey, we can continue this conversation and start to close the gap and make it more of a private conversation to see, is there really something here? Are we vibing? Are we connecting? Can we see what's going on? There was an empty chair next to me. I patted it, invited him to sit next to me. And, you know, it's been history from there. But one thing that I've always gone back to that story, and I've asked him, like, what was it about that moment for you? And he was like, I felt welcomed. He said, I felt welcomed. And he even admitted that when he first saw me, he said, when I first saw you and I looked at you, he was like, I made the assumption of who you were. And so sometimes we don't realize that when someone sees you, they're already making assumptions about who they think you are. And that's why it is so imperative that you stay positioned in a space of being open so that when the opportunity presents itself, you can show them this is who I am. And so when that opportunity presented itself and I said, hey, come sit next to me, then he lets his guard down and he like, okay, all right, I was wrong. Let's see what's up. So I love that part of our story because
so be open.
Shot.
Yeah, no, shoot it. Apparently, that's all we've been hearing too. You're just re-emphasizing some of the previous conversations because we've heard it so many times. What we're carrying sometimes is on the outside and we don't really know it. Speak on it with Annie. Welcome, love. Says Ruth pursued Boaz. So don't get it twisted. Read the story. I appreciate you. Lovely P says, absolutely. Now this is the conversation. Sis, you preaching, says Black Struggle.
Today.
Yes, they're gonna learn. Yeah, we exist differently in everyone's perception. Absolutely true. Everybody has their guys up today. I can feel you on this. Cause everybody thinks, especially in South Florida, we'd be like, y'all crazy. I'd be looking around before I would approach for real, because it's you just don't know. There's so many unseemly people that unfortunately the good people get blocked and locked out. I want to do a reset. Welcome everybody. For y'all who have shown love in the chat, thank you. Suzette Speaks here, speaking near and dear from the heart today. Real love for ambitious women is what we're talking about with none other than self love and mindset coach, Miss Casandra Austin-McDonald. She works out of Orlando. She coaches everywhere. Coach got some good energy. I would agree. Yeah, they say love coaches energy. I would agree. Like I was trying to say before I had a moment, I got a little verklempt. Yeah, y'all. I was like, God, where did that come from? What's going on?
Because I believe that when people come into my world, I have the gift of healing. It's gonna happen.
Right through the screen is Coco. So all of us need some healing, and I am including myself in that. So I appreciate you just being here and just sharing your gift as we talk and we dialogue, guys. This is a conversation. We're going to allow Coach Austin-McDonald to speak, but we want to hear from you, and you can ask her questions. I'm going to open up the floor a little bit later so that you can get your questions answered. She helps married people. Do you coach single women as well?
I coach single women. I work with married women. When I tell you the gamut of clients, I've even worked with men. I'm actually working with a client from South Africa. I have an international client even. So
Nice.
if it's aligned and it's right, then we work together.
Perfect. So I think she's seen it all. She was in these streets. And she knows what it is now to have found someone a little on the quote later end,
Yes.
and be happily married as well. So I think there's some truths that you will have that I definitely will not, and that the audience who is watching can glean. So I'm grateful. Again, let me just clarify my own feelings towards what I responded to. I think I have had a lot in me since our beginning on this journey together. Talking about TLA, the lead attorney, Coach Cass, I kind of briefed you a little bit, and getting into a conversation literally I never expected to be a part of. So I'm grateful for it. It has definitely pushed me and what should I say, exposed some of my vulnerabilities in ways that I would never have imagined with an audience. So I'm grateful for it. And I think just like all of you, especially those of you who are single, still working through it, still working through how I feel, why I feel what I feel. I see your question here, and I'm going to pull it up. Shafreen says, as Suzette Speaks question, what value does a husband add to a woman that would justify her feeling less than if she doesn't have one? What increases for a woman with marriage versus being single? I don't think I feel less. I feel like I hear that I'm less. And maybe I have internalized that. Maybe I have internalized that, because in my mind, if you ask me, I do not feel less. I'm living a very full life. I have so many people that love me, and I'm planting all kinds of seeds in everybody's lives. And I feel, what should I say, a deep connection and what should I say, the call that I feel is on me is fulfilling. But I also feel that there may be a call when it comes to relationships that I don't know if I've heard, that I don't know if I'm being responsive to, that I don't know if I'm not paying enough attention to, quite frankly, until like these last few weeks where I'm like, maybe I need to put some more on this burner of the stove right now. Since it's like, boom, when they say life is showing you what you need to be doing, follow the breadcrumbs. Life can hit you in the face sometimes. Thank you for that question. Can you?
I'd love to elaborate on that last part where they ask what increases for a woman with marriage versus being single.
Yes.
I hear this question a lot because, like I shared, I work with women who are single, married. I've even worked with men before. But what I have learned to be true is that when you're in a relationship with someone, we become mirrors to one another. And so what is within one is going to be revealed in the other. And what happens is you get to come face to face with parts of yourself that you didn't even know you needed to evolve and elevate and level up in and with, until you're in a partnership with someone who pulls that out of you. And so while we're living in this world where everybody's talking about being your best self and living your best life, you really miss out on the opportunity of exponential growth of
Mm,
not having that person there to mirror to you the next
yeah,
level that exists for you. And
yeah.
so for me personally, being in a partnership, in a healthy relationship, it
Mhm.
has allowed me to grow and evolve even deeper and more as a woman, as a leader, as a mother, as a coach, as a friend, as a sister. And so it's expanded my world in so many ways. And so I
Mhm.
just wanted to elaborate on that last question, because a lot of
Yeah.
people like yourself, I was there. When I met my husband, I was a single mom, educated, homeowner, money in the bank, did the whole day.
Had it going on.
Yeah, I don't need you to pay my bills. I got my own money. I've been there.
Absolutely. And you're like, wait, do I need a man? Like, yeah, you
Been
do.
there.
I would elaborate
I'm not
on what you
stupid.
just said and piggyback on what you just said, because I have not experienced that yet through marriage. But when I look around, when I see healthy couples who start out pretty early, if they have that, the blessing to do so, they are farther along in terms of building wealth, personal growth, and building a family.
Yes.
Again, I don't think any less of people who are not doing that. All
Mhm.
I'm saying is, when we talk about, as the question asks, what does it add? I feel like, particularly with our white counterparts, our Caucasian counterparts, they understand quickly that marriage augments or accelerates your life path in terms of how quickly you are become a homeowner, how quickly, when you have two checks, if both are working, or when somebody has your back and not working, so you can press the gas in corporate America,
Yes.
it adds to, the ability for whatever both partners, one partner, to
Mhm.
see, which I say a multiplier, I think was one gentleman, I did not agree with his whole point, but a multiplier effect, where I'm looking at my counterparts now. If they were, in a healthy marriage, some have gotten divorced, everything is not perfect, every marriage is not the best. I'm not trying to say,
Right.
let's look at it all through rose colored glasses. I'm just saying, if you are blessed enough to get a partner, or find a marital connection, I see so much blessing in it
Mhm.
from the folks who I have, been examples even in my own family, in
Mhm.
terms of how stability, like I am
Mhm.
how I am because my parents are still married, and
Mhm.
what they poured into me through that marriage, I'm reaping. So I
Mhm.
think there's a lot there. I'm not trying to say marriage is all,
Yeah.
because it's not. You still have to be happy with you.
Right.
But I do look
Exactly.
around from my own personal observation, and I see some benefit. Not
Mhm.
that I'm lacking, but I see benefit. So I
Yes.
think you both can be true together. Not being married also has benefit, but I
Mhm.
do see benefit in marriage as well. Y'all drop some comments. I'm here with one and only special guest, Casandra Austin-McDonald. We're talking about real love for ambitious women. She was giving her personal testimony. We're going to open up a little bit later for some questions, but I want to know, Coach, let's start with talking about your self development in preparation for. I guess I don't even know if you knew
Mhm.
you were preparing for, but
Yeah.
had you been dating a lot? Were you in a season where you were like, I'm on these apps, I'm getting ready to get married? Like, I'm hearing all kinds of stories. I heard God intervened in yesterday's stream, where they had a vision in the church and the light came on and they saw a woman.
Oh Lord.
We got them still okay. So where were you when you were preparing for that real love? What was your preparation like?
Well, I believe it'd be remiss if I don't backtrack a bit about the seed that was planted that led me to the journey. When my son was about 2 or 3 years old, I came to the realization that I was for real a single mom at this point. Me and his son's father completely had split up, never got married. And what I realized in that moment was there was aspects of our relationship that were unhealthy and toxic. And so I prayed this prayer asking God to show me how to heal. I just wanted to know how to heal.
Mm,
What ended up happening shortly thereafter is I was given an opportunity to move back to my hometown in Springfield, Illinois. where I became a treatment specialist, and I worked with juvenile and adult offenders in the justice system for over 13 years. And so I do have a professional background in training, skills, education, and all that in working with people. And what happened is I was facilitating a group session with my clients. And at the time, one of the participants there raised their hand and was like, well, Miss Casandra, how did you forgive someone? Because the part in the workbook we were working on for that particular group that day was called Forgiveness and Healing. And so I remember, I kind of was looking at it, and it dawned on me that I had this education and this professional background and training, and here I am trying to help people, and I didn't have the personal experience for myself to be able to give them that point of view. And so it was really a self-check for me that, okay, you need to practice what you over here preaching with your clients at work. And so I took that workbook home, and shortly thereafter, my journey started where I started going to therapy. Eventually, I started investing in coaches and had mentors. And what happened is first I started facing the traumas of my childhood. Like many of us, I have different traumas that I experienced, ranging from physical, emotional, sexual abuse. And so I had trauma that I had to face and feel and heal from and deal with. And then from there, I started my personal growth journey with working on my mindset. I started changing my habits, the way that I was taking care of my physical body. I started working on my emotional intelligence. I started working on different aspects of myself, so that eventually what I realize now when I look back is I would be ready when it was time to meet that person. Now, throughout the middle of that process, I did know I had this desire to have a lifetime partner. That desire came into my heart in the middle of my healing. And so I was in this place where I was like, man, I really do want a person. I want my person. I want a husband. I want a partner. And I had been in different relationships. I had been dating, but nothing was lasting. It wasn't really healthy, to be honest with you, because I was still healing and growing and evolving. And I remember when I got clear that that's what I desired, that really helped me to then get clarity on, well, what will that look like? What kind of person would that be? And what kind of relationship do I desire? And over time, it just evolved into me really starting to look at who do I need to be within the relationship and how do I need to show up, and really starting to work on different parts of myself, my communication, working on my attitude, working on my belief systems, working on addressing are my values in alignment with what I say that I want. And over time, eventually I met the Mister. That's what I call him on social media. But I believe that when I met him, I was ready. And it was because of all that back work that I did.
You said a lot. You said a lot, Coach Cass. All right, we backing up. Y'all ready? We backing up. Because on my other streams, you'll know I like to dig a little deeper to find out where, you coming from. Because there are people sitting on this chat right now who will watch this replay, hit them likes, that will resonate with what you just said. Yeah. So you said you had childhood trauma. Are you comfortable talking about that?
Absolutely. I wrote a whole book about it.
Well, yeah, you wrote a book. Okay. So we can talk. So a lot of people experience childhood trauma, and I like to, especially when I meet people, find out about how they grew up, because it informs so much about what they believe in relationships, and oftentimes how they will operate in a relationship. When you hear how, do you relate to your mom? Do you relate to your dad? How did your mom treat you? How did your dad treat you? How did you feel? Did you feel love? Did you feel respect? Did you feel safe? I always go back to those questions. People think, Sue, you going on a date, or you are psychoanalyzing people. But I think it's important to be informed about how people grew up. So you said you experienced trauma in your early stages. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So my upbringing was unique. I am a biracial woman. My mom is white. My dad is Black. And so I saw two different dynamics right then and there of itself, growing up with the way that my mom's family was, the way my father's family was. And so unfortunately, through different hardships that happened in life, my dad ended up being an alcoholic, and he was an abusive alcoholic. And so I witnessed domestic violence in the home. And then I was also abused as a little girl. And so that right there started to shape some of my perspectives on not only what I did not want, but also that was the first heartbreak that I experienced was from my father. What helped me to always value relationships is because I grew up with my grandparents on my mom's side and my dad's side together, seeing that and how they interacted. And I just always have this example around me of relationships. And so I always valued relationships despite, my failed efforts of trying to be in relationships and they weren't working out and they weren't healthy. I had the desire, always wanted it, but those past traumas was part of the reason that I was having some dysfunction in my relationships, because as a woman who is kind-hearted and empathetic, we tend to draw to us the opposite when we're not healthy and in a different space within ourselves. And so I was in relationships with people who were having what's known as narcissistic personalities. I don't like to use that word a lot because it's used all over the internet. It is an actual diagnosis in the DSM-5 handbook. And so it's not something to be used loosely, but just we were all toxic in our own ways. And so what I had to do was go back and look at, where did I learn some of this, and how do I unlearn this, and how do I start the healing process so that I don't carry that into my relationships moving forward?
Did you feel that? So I'm assuming the gentleman that you dated prior to meeting your husband reflected some of the same tendencies that you experienced with your father?
Absolutely.
So you, drop some comments in the chat if you've done that. If you've dated anybody that reminds you of that.
And I was 19 when I got pregnant with my son.
Oh,
so
wow.
Very early.
Okay.
Very
So
early.
women, we tend to sometimes, if we're not, again, self-aware, repeat very habits that we don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to become aware first and foremost, especially if, like Coach Cass, her experience or your experience growing up led to, some trauma.
Yeah.
So I think the first step, guys, if we are talking real love and how to get to real love, is to try to be aware of where your thoughts and beliefs originate.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And understand that just because you didn't see, mom and dad perfect or grew up single parent or any of that, doesn't mean we can't have real love and marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a very big lesson. Sometimes when we are in situations as children and they hurt us, I have a baby cousin that's dealing with this right now. I said to my 12-year-old cousin, she's adopted, my 12-year-old cousin, we're gonna, here I go from this, we're gonna get you married early. She's like, and she said, Auntie, who says I'm gonna get married at 12? And of course, I don't want to share her trauma, but she had a lot of trauma with her parents. That's how, if she's in another family group. But I was like, Lord, therapy and counseling. I told her mom, we got to get her into that now, because it's just frightening how much we are hiding, but it's shaping us.
Yes.
And oftentimes when you get that good man or you get that good woman and you're not treating them as you should be, we think the good person, if we are the good person, something wrong with us. But I realized you're not beating me up. You beating up your last girl or your mom even, or whoever kind of laid that poorly constructed framework for how relationships should be.
Yeah.
So if this is you, if this is me, any of us, where we are still continuing in patterns that don't serve us, we have to first acknowledge and then maybe get some help to develop better patterns, to understand how to break these patterns. Somebody drop some comments.
Yes.
Because
and I see somebody saying it's husband, not partner. My husband and I use those words interchangeably.
I was going to ask you about this. We get a lot of this. Partner is not the same as husband. I'm like,
in our home, we use them interchangeably because we believe in creating our own relationship goals. We don't. That's something we do in our household.
Yeah.
So
I think everybody in a good way. I don't know why they think of it as different. I'm not talking about it in a business sense, y'all. That's not how I mean it anyway.
Yeah,
But
no,
I
it's
think
not a
if it's a good
business
thing.
partnership.
Yeah, we were talking about it last night, so that's why I'm kind of like carryover. But I
Yeah.
want to be clear that I mean it. This one says, Kitty Cat says, I don't want a partner, I want a leader. Okay, I ain't
Yeah,
mad.
my husband's
That's what
very
it
much
worked
a
for
leader.
you. Amen
Yeah,
to that.
yeah.
Okay, I don't think we're judging. I think we're just using
Yeah.
words that we're comfortable with.
Yeah,
But
I think
I
that's
see it a
what
lot,
it
so
is.
that's why I brought it up.
Yeah, I think
So
people get labeled that we identify different meanings to different words for different reasons. And so there's no judgment for whatever reason, everybody
you
finds their
use whatever you use.
word.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I love this. Lovely Piece says, people have to learn. Oh, then unlearn and then relearn. This is real, y'all. This is a daily walk. This is not an
Yeah.
overnight, I got a couple of counseling sessions and I'm done. Because so much about what we think about, even just success in general, and if we're deserving of it, deserving of a good husband.
Yeah.
A lot of these tropes and things that we have seen in the media, not even from family, from the media telling us who is worthy and who is not worthy, particularly based on the melanation.
Yeah.
And how
Yeah,
much
if I would have listened to that, I was a single mom labeled as damaged goods because of the traumatic background that I had. And if I listened to those labels and allowed those labels to become my identity, I probably would still be single. But at some point, you have to reclaim your own identity and not allow other people to project what they see in you. And you have to know who you are. And if you know that you are not in a space to be in a relationship, be honest with yourself. There's no shame in that. Or, you want to be in a relationship, but there's some things you need to work on. You have to start the work because it doesn't get easier when the person shows up. That's when the real work begins, because now you have two people with their backgrounds and their ways of beings, and you have to see if you have compatibility in your values and your characteristics and in your beliefs. And so start the work now. If you're single, don't wait. And I wanted to address also the topic of independence, because there is a lot about being, strong, independent women.
INDEMPE.
And I'm like,
y'all know y'all be singing it when it comes on.
We got to talk about it. It's hyper independence is a trauma response.
Ooh, hold on. Say it again.
Hyper independence is a trauma response. It's our way of saying that I have control of not being disappointed again, of not being hurt again, of not being disappointed again, betrayed again, left again, abandoned again. I know the rug's not going to get pulled from under me because I'm in control. I'm in the driver's seat. That's a trauma response. We have to address these types of things.
And it can be, I think, passed on. Moms can pass that to daughters. I don't want you to have to depend on no man. Hold up. I'm getting in somebody's house now.
Yeah.
Step off the porch. Coming inside.
And we internalize the projections of others, people who may have meant well, but we have to realize our parents, our grandparents, our aunts, all these other people, they came up in times that were different than ours. And so their perceptions, their ways of seeing the world is going to be different than ours. And so sometimes we have to learn how to take things with a grain of salt, try to glean from what is for us, but we take it all and say, I'm just going to do everything or do the complete opposite. And what happens is you find yourself living in the complete opposite.
Sorry, I was reading the chat. Sometimes I respond to the chat, so I mute myself. I'd be like, oh, so I put myself on mute. I want to do a quick reset. So many people have joined. Welcome, everybody. Suzette Speaks Show live today. If you're watching the replay, I don't care. Drop a like. We got some nuggets in here from the self-love and mindset coach, Casandra Austin.
Prophetic.
Yeah, hey, it might be prophetic. I'm ready. I'm so used to talking to doctor. You never know. Casandra, let me put her name up here so y'all can find her. She has a website. I'm going to drop it in the description after this. Y'all see she's doing some great work, works with clients all around the world. So we have some work to do, both from the men's perspective and the ladies' perspective. She's just talking about real love for ambitious women. We are in the part of the conversation where we're just talking about what it means to be ready for. So I asked her, what did she do to be ready for? Or, didn't know the day, didn't know the time, was out here being ready and probably looking, but, wanting to stop the patterns, which she realized were unhealthy, of dating people that, had, as she said, narcissism and other types of like diagnosable, to a diagnosable extent, issues. So we are going to, talk about some things that might be, uncomfortable for some people because we'll see ourselves in the conversation, but we want to be open because I think that's the only way we make progress. Hit the like button, y'all. I see so many y'all in the chat. Hit the like button. We're going to continue the conversation. I'm going to ask for questions later if you want to come up. So there's so much in this conversation about ambitious women and love. I love the fact that you unpack that you realize you needed work. You realized you was carrying trauma from a rough upbringing, from dad who was an abusive alcoholic, from, rejection, from feeling that you didn't belong. Actually, you didn't say that, but I know that from when you was at the workshop. Can you talk a little bit about that, about the identity piece?
Yeah, growing up biracial and seeing two different socioeconomic backgrounds from my mom's side and my dad's side, there was always this identity crisis when I was younger about who am I and where do I fit in, because I was seeing two different ways of being in the world with my mom's side and my dad's side. And so when I go out into the world, I'm also being treated based upon how I appear. When I go out to the world, folks see this. They don't see my mother. And so I'm not getting treated like a biracial woman. And that's the assumption that a lot of my peers would make was, well, you're not 100% Black, you're half white. But it's like, yes, but if I get pulled over or I go to a job or I go to this place, I'm still getting treated as such. And so it really did create a lot of uncertainty in who I was. And so that was part of the journey that I had to walk through as well, was just getting really, really clear and rooted in who I was and being confident in that.
Yes, I'm looking at some of the comments. Thank you guys for dropping comments. Let us know what you're thinking. Black women have, Ace says, historically the highest participation in the workforce because they have had to. We had to support the household and the husband. I agree with that. It's not a matter of wanting to work. It's had to work. Two incomes had to make ends meet. And I
grew up in that environment.
Me
even
too.
Though my mom worked and my dad was the one that was at home.
Yeah, really.
So I grew up seeing that.
Okay. I think also there's so many people that have so many different questions here. So doing some of that self-worth, a lot of people said I can relate to what's going on, understanding that maybe not seeing the most healthy pattern growing up affects you.
Yes.
Not a judgment. Not seeing the most healthy patterns growing up affects all of us.
Yes.
So first,
and it doesn't have to be to the extreme of abuse or things like that, but it could be subtle things, not seeing affection, not hearing words of affirmation, not feeling validated, feeling unseen, unheard. Those create emotional wounds, and those emotional wounds still show up in your relationships.
I think so too. Nobody ain't got to hit you in the face to be abusive in a sense. I don't mean to laugh on that. I mean it in a real way, because sometimes we just think pure physical abuse. No, a lot of us have some emotional trauma. We're not allowed to say it as Black folk because we're not going to blame mom, and we're not going to dishonor our parents. And it's not about blaming or dishonor, but it can still be observed. Dang, y'all beat me for no reason. Dang, y'all was like on me or made me feel, use shame, use guilt, all those things that we've been talking about. And I'm using those patterns, put your insert self in when I deal in relationships. And it's just something to be cognizant of, guys.
Yes.
Because sometimes we are carrying what was not made for us to carry. We just have it. And we've been imprinted on, and it's all good, and it's all love. And our parents didn't have a rule book or all the answers, and good for them. We still love and respect them. But we also have to be cognizant that we can recreate those rules. We can unlearn the unhealthy behavior, and we can hopefully take that with us as we start to search for a a mate, real love. I was gonna say real love. So we can do both, but it takes us first being real with ourselves and understanding where we are. So you coach people on self-love. Do people not love themselves in all this selfieing world and all the ways in which people externalize, I guess, their confidence and self-love being, two different things. So you coaching people on self-love, why? And do we lack it?
I believe people have a very surface level perception of what self-love is. Uh, we live in a time where people believe self-love means that they went and got their hair and nails done. They are treating themselves to whatever material possessions or going on trips. Some even say, oh, I got a therapist. And having a therapist is like a popular thing now. When I started my journey, that was not popular. But what I'm noticing the link with self-love is, and what is happening in the work that I'm doing with my clients is that they still have not resolved some of those deeper issues that fractured what's called our self-image. Our self-image is the way that we see ourselves and perceive ourselves. And it's typically not on a conscious level. It's typically on an unconscious level, which could be why people have self-sabotaging and self-destructive behaviors when they're in relationships with people, whether if it's sabotaging a relationship or showing up in a relationship that's not healthy, or not positioning yourself. A lot of that goes to deeper issues of self-love. And so it's not always about, oh, I love myself because I take care of myself on a surface level. It's really about some of those deeper heart soul issues.
So do y'all love yourselves? Asking for a friend.
She's just going straight for the kids.
No, I want to ask the child. Because there is a lot of this bandied about. Oh, self-love. I love myself. But do you really? You really? I think this is a very, very, very good point.
And it's a lifelong journey. It's not about a destination.
I love it. So Kid Nardak says, boom, surface level. Yes, agreement there. Self-accountability is the most difficult to accept. That's the big part. This is very true.
Feel good. It don't feel good to face the woman or the man in the mirror and say, you messed up. You were wrong. You made a mistake. You need to work on that. They were right. You're wrong. You need to do something about that. It doesn't feel good, but that is where the healing happens. That is where the breakthrough happens. That's where the transformation happens.
So accountability goes as a part of the self-love journey and beyond, even though I could call that self-care is important. The hairdos, the nails, the trip to the beach, walk around. That's definitely important, but definitely admiring and loving the ugly parts of you too can be a part of that self-love journey that I think a lot of people are not comfortable with. We are oftentimes, and I say the general we, speaking hypothetically, we are oftentimes very comfortable in what is good about us. But it's when we really start to dig and realize, you know what, I'm mean. Or, you know what, I haven't been a good friend.
And not being defensive about it.
Exactly. Or maybe I'm not giving my partner, y'all know I'm gonna use that word, but my wife what she needs, or my husband what they need.
Because it works on both ends.
Absolutely.
It works on both ends.
Part of that journey is the realization that we're not going to get it right. And we still got to show ourselves grace.
Yes.
And we still can make the changes.
Yes.
Beyond the, oh crap, I was really mean in that moment. I shouldn't have said this. I shouldn't have done that. I should have showed up. I didn't show up. We got to call out those parts too. And have the grace to say, God, I didn't do well at what my husband needed, or what my wife needed, or what my boyfriend or my girlfriend needed. I can apologize and I can try to do better.
Right.
It's gonna be a rough journey if we don't realize there's so much good in the self-love journey, but there's also some challenge areas of ourselves that we have to be okay with.
Yeah, and self-love is also being able to receive love.
Talk about that.
I've noticed a lot of driven, ambitious women, particularly. I know that's part of the topic, but there's a receiving part that they struggle with, whether if it's with receiving help, receiving love. And that's where we see that strong independent role coming in. And so you want to be able to receive it because we deserve it. And receiving love is really going back to what I shared at the beginning of this topic of discussion we were having, is being open. And in order to be open, you have to do some of that soul work and heart healing so that you aren't all closed off and shutting yourself down from receiving.
I agree. Sorry, man. You know, I got to mute in between. I'm grateful for y'all's comments. I'm grateful that you're here, y'all. I'm so excited that we are getting some real perspective from a woman who coaches up singles and women in terms of their self-love journey, as well as in marriages, as well as mindset. So there are so many parts of her expertise that we can glean from, and hopefully it'll help somebody when it comes to preparation for the real love, and then being able, as she says, to experience it, to be able to receive it, and to think oneself worthy of it. Yes. That's another part of it. I think a lot of times we don't know that we don't even feel worthy, or that we feel unworthy of success, of love. You fill in the blank. Oftentimes those come from deep-seated childhood issues. So in your practice, are you seeing a lot of marriages over 30, over 40, over 50? Are you seeing people with difficulties in their marriage resolve them? Can you talk a little bit about what are some challenges you see that we could probably learn from preemptively when it comes to either the single person getting ready, or within the marriage trying to, get back on track and heal?
One of the biggest challenges I have noticed for the clients I have worked with, both in the past and presently, that are married, is not resolving resentments within the relationship, and them thinking that divorcing is the way out to resolve what they're feeling inside. And so through my work with them, I help them to process that resentment, step out of the blame game, because we all play a part in our interactions with one another, and to learn how to communicate, up level their communication on a higher level, so you're not speaking through the hurt of your resentment, and you're not seeing through the lens of that resentment. And so that's one of the biggest key parts I've seen when it comes to breakdown in relationships, is that harboring of resentment and then feeling like leaving the relationship is the answer, when really it's, how do I resolve this resentment so I'm not speaking through the hurt of the resentment, I'm not seeing through the lens of the resentment.
Okay, so is that a communication issue, Coach? What do you mean?
It's funny,
like,
because
give us an example.
People say communication is the number one breakdown in relationships. And I say, but the root of that's your emotional state. So for instance,
back up. Say one more, say what you just said. Sorry, I'm processing. Say it again.
People often say that communication is the number one breakdown in relationships. But I often say we got to take it back a step further and look at the emotional state someone is in. And so if you have a breakdown in your relationship and there's resentment there, what happens is you communicate through the hurt of resentment. It could show up in the form of blaming, being defensive, being guarded, shutting down, isolating, giving the silent treatment. There's so many different ways that it shows up. But what happens is that is what breaks down the communication. And so people are wanting to fix the communication without fixing the root of, but why is the communication breaking down? Because someone's hurt.
So the emotional state of either partner plays a big role in that breakdown.
Yes.
Before you could even talk about the breakdown, you got to feel what pain, what trauma, whatever is that person experiencing. All right. I am going to start to open up the back. I think there are some people in the comments that got something to say. I'm going to spend some more time talking to Coach Cass in a little bit here. I'm going to drop the link so that you can let us know if you have questions for her, and if there are things that which you want her to address when it comes to finding love as an ambitious woman. So I'm excited. I love the conversation. Like I said, I don't know, I got a little emotional in the open, but it's life. It's real. It's who we are. And we cannot, pretend. We have to make sure. And I'm big on let's be real in terms of where we are from the inside. All right. So this is good stuff. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all liking and supporting. I dropped my phone when I went back to the ladies' room. I dropped my phone, so I can't even see if y'all giving any cash apps. Or I will most certainly be shouting you out. But since we're talking about it, hit the like button. This is the Suzette Speaks Show, talking about real love for ambitious women. We're going to drop the link here just momentarily, allow you to talk to Coach Cass. Is there anything, Coach Cass, you want to say before I open up the back and allow folks to come on up and ask questions? What do you think? Anything else about real women? Well, we are real women, but ambitious women finding real love. Is there anything else you want to make sure you drill home before we open up the back?
Stop listening to people who don't have what you want. You know,
stop listening to people who, now come on, Coach, they don't have what you want. Stir the pot. Okay, go ahead, expound.
My journey was when I was doing my healing process and I was changing a lot of my habits. I had a period of about 2 years where I was not on social media, and this is in the infant stages of, you know, Facebook and all that. I was not on social media. I stopped hanging out with the single friends who was talking about there's no good men out there. And I went into this place of straight tunnel vision, solitude of I'm going to focus on myself, because what happens when you listen to people who don't have what you want, that starts to shape and form your conditioning. And a lot of people minimize the power of influence. And we can become very impressionable when we're in vulnerable states. And so if you're in a vulnerable state of deeply desiring a husband and marriage, but you keep listening to people who are talking about there's no good men out there, and did you hear about what her husband did? And did you hear that negativity feeds into your mind, and before you know it, it adds and compounds onto the belief systems that you have. And so you have to separate yourself and stop listening to people who either don't have the results that you want or who aren't speaking some sort of information, knowledge, tools, strategies to help you get what you want.
I'm dropping the link. Sorry, I was typing up the link. Y'all, I'm dropping the link. She done said a word. Yes, I agree. I agree. Join the conversation. I just dropped the link so y'all can come on up. Amen to that. There's a lot of activity. Amen to that. Amen to that. Stop listening to folks ain't got what you want. Okay. They doing a praise dance over here. Lovely said she doing a praise dance. Right on, Mecca. What's going on, Ramika? What's going on, boo? See you. Yes. I am right with you. I want y'all to come on up. We are in good company. Thank you. You are the company you keep. Absolutely, Chris. I could not agree more. So we've heard some of the things that she just said again. We've heard it. Get by yourself. Abstain from social media. Try not to internalize the messages. Yes. Help me, oh God. Help me, oh God. Not to be internalizing messages that are not for me.
Yes. And what I even did, I shut down conversations that were speaking against what I wanted. The people who were telling me I was damaged goods, the people who were saying that, how are you going to meet someone and you're a single mom? I shut those conversations down. And so stop entertaining conversations that are not pouring into what it is that you want.
That we are getting somewhere. I appreciate y'all. We are going to invite some of you guys up. Hit the StreamYard link. I see Terry in the back. Terry, I'm going to bring you up momentarily. Like I said, this is an open conversation. If you decide to come on up, you are waiving your right to privacy. I'm not going to take it back down because you didn't like what you said. So if you are prepared to come on and share, please hit the StreamYard link. I would love to hear your perspectives. And if you have any questions for Coach Cass right now, I am really impressed with, some of the things that you've already said. I will be applying it to my own life. Thank you, Lord. And maybe a couple of people, maybe co-sign or maybe even have a difference of opinion. So I love the fact that Coach Cass is being so upfront and personal. Terry Jones, I see you up twice. So if you could log off on one of those in the backstage area, I'm going to go with Tara first. And then Terry, I see you up twice, so I'm going to bring her up. I'm going to allow anyone who wants to come in, ask Coach Cass. This is a free session, Coach. Coach costs money, so we go.
Yeah.
Hey, so we're gonna have her information. Hello, and have her website in the description. But I would love for you to be able to right now, voice your opinion. Hey, Miss Tara Jones Williams, come on down.
Hi there.
Hi, I'm well. How are you?
Good. Wonderful. What is going on? Where are you calling from, or where are you watching from?
From Grand Rapids, Michigan.
The girl. That's why I hear you calling.
Yes, the girl.
Welcome. I had a nice, I won't say boyfriend from Grand Rapids back in the day, but hey, Grand Rapids in the building.
Memory lane. His name to see if
no, you ain't gonna I ain't gonna tell that. But he was so nice. I was like, some really nice people come from Grand Rapids.
They do.
But welcome. Tell us what your thoughts are on the conversation, or if you have any questions.
Yeah, so I just want to say, first of all, thank you, Suzette, for hosting this. And thank you so much to the Mindset and Self-Love Coach. Like, this was amazing. And I'm just so excited that women are talking about this and sharing their stories and sharing inspiration that love for ambitious women is possible. Successful marriages is possible. Several children, if you want, the house on a hill, whatever it is, possible. So I see Suzette, I was on the TLA show and I was the one talking to you about the one that said I was married at 32.
Yeah, nice to see you again. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I just wanted to double down and say, hey, listen, it's possible. I'm 32 years old. I met my husband at 29 and we got married right after my 31st birthday. I said 30th, but 31st birthday. And I'm an ambitious woman and I have 3 children. I'm an entrepreneur. I stay at home and work my business from home. And I have an amazing husband. I have an amazing life. I do what I want when I want. And so it's absolutely possible. It's absolutely possible. You can have both. You don't have to choose one or the other. You can absolutely have both.
And let me ask you that question that was posed again about the benefit of marriage. What do you feel like has been the biggest change or changes from your single life? And I'm assuming you were happy in your single life, and maybe you can just expound on that, and your married life. Because I think some people, with what we're seeing in the news about Black women not married and all the marriage and all the marriages going to hell in a handbasket, what are some of the benefits? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so yes, I did have a very good comprehensive single life. So I traveled a lot. I have a lot of friends, a lot of girlfriends. I dated. I definitely just exhausted my single season, right? And then I got married. And the biggest benefit, which also could be a downfall if you're not a downfall, but just kind of something to get adjusted to, is the ease that you have. There is a level of ease being in a partnership or a marriage with a man who really takes pride in taking things off your plate. And so you'll find yourself like, what do I do with all this extra energy, all this extra time? And I know it sounds weird.
Whoa. Describe what you mean. People going, what? Did I
add on to that? Because I'm in a similar situation. I stay home, I work from home. And
take what off your plate, though? Take what off your plate, though?
So I don't pay any bills. For example, before I married my husband, I was a single mother for 10 years, right? And so I was in this survival, thriving drive mode because I had to be both masculine and feminine in my household, right? And so now I'm like, what? Nothing really motivates me to do anything because I can have everything I want. Like, I don't have to spend the money
Let me check this chat.
I don't have to spend the money that I earn. I don't have to, like, if my husband is like, oh, you're tired, I can grab something to eat. Like, I can grab us Chick-fil-A or Chipotle. Like, I don't have to be the person always doing for the household.
Yeah.
That's so
you have somebody else that's equally involved in the household.
Yeah. And it's like night and day when you were a single mom.
Oh, yeah.
It's like night and day. I'm like, I tell him all the time, why couldn't you be in college?
Let the church touch and agree. Y'all touch and agree for me over here, please. Because
I'm touching and agreeing for everybody that's listening to Coach,
somebody.
listening
I'm
to
like,
Suzette,
wow.
and listening to us, because it's absolutely possible.
Men saying you're okay. Now we got some yin and yang. Some men are like, oh, she's married to a simp. This word simp. Oh my.
What does that mean?
Yeah, you know,
because in my
funny.
world where I am surrounded by what I call their high value men, there's a difference between being a high earning man and a high value man.
Amen.
And in my world, we don't use language like that. So if they could define that, that would be helpful.
Yeah. And for me, you know what? For me, Coach, the thing about it is that I grew up with a grandfather, a father, several uncles. I have 4 brothers. I have a lot of men around me, and they all take care and respect and uplift women. And in return, women take care and respect and uphold them, right? My husband don't have to want for a thing when it comes to what he wants in a wife, is because I will go above and beyond for my husband because of the space that he's created for me to do so, right? Sex life is bomb because I'm not tired, right? I can swing off the chandelier in the bedroom because I'm not tired, right?
I ain't got no stress.
Listen,
so
I ain't got no stress, right? He don't got to worry about food. He don't have to worry about the kids. Like the kids are already taken care of. Listen, so you know, people can call it simps, but those are the men that are single. And like you said, Coach, don't be listening to people who don't have what you want or cannot maintain what you want. Wow. Don't be out here listening to these videos of these men talking about what a man shouldn't do. I'm telling you, because I'll tell you, take care of women.
Some of the language I see on the internet, like the simp I just saw, like in my world, we don't use that type of language. And that's the type of conversations I am inviting women to stop entertaining and to stop allowing people to feed you stuff that does not belong for you. Men also have their issues, you know. Men have mother wounds, men have father abandonment wounds, men have wounds they need to heal too. So it's not always about just women needing to heal. There's men who need to heal too. And those are conversations that I would love for men to start having on some platforms.
Yeah, I think so.
And Casandra, I think you can agree it once you realize is that men are not a monolith. Black men are not a monolith. Some men, just like women, thrive in certain areas. Some women, some men, they are very good providers. Some men, they are very good fathers and very present in the home. Some men like to be outside the home and really bringing resources into the home, right? Some men are very emotionally in tune with those in his household. Some men are not. Neither one of these men are more or less than the other. All these men are valuable to the collective of the Black community. So I'm like, can we just stop downgrading our fellow Black man and just applaud that he's taking care of his kids? And
whichever way works for him and whichever way works for them. It is so much pressure.
However my husband decides to show up as a husband and father, I'm grateful and thankful for. And he looks like a different husband and father than my dad did and my grandfather did, and I'm absolutely okay with that.
I think we gotta make, there's so many nuggets, right? Hold on now, we gotta break some of this down, because I think there are so many passing, and I'm like, whoa, it is good stuff. So accepting love however it shows up for you. However that man presents himself and what he offers don't necessarily need to be exactly what your homegirl got at her house. Help us, God.
They all valuable.
There's a social pressure that keeps passing on, where we're worried about what she driving, and how he got you driving.
My husband and I were just having a conversation last night. We love watching different programs that touch on relationships, and the common theme we're noticing is that people are still wanting to get married for the facade and the image of it, and not for the actual institution of what it stands for. And so that's another reality that people have to face, is why do you even want to get married? Because if it's for show and for play, well, then of course you don't have what you want.
No. To put down the next woman. Here's my ring. You ain't got one.
And little do they realize that marriage is going to be one of the hardest work that you will do. Cohabitating with another individual about what you're going to do with the rest of your life and the direction of the rest of your life is one of the toughest things you're going to have to do in life. And so you really have to have your big girl and big boy pants on.
Yeah.
when you enter into the institution of marriage.
There's so much there. I agree with all that you've just said when it comes to, it's still some work. He set it up nice. Sound like both of y'all got to find me a brother, an uncle, a nephew. But it's a beautiful thing when I heard in I think it was like an NPR show, and it happened to be a Black woman, I believe, living in Korea, married to a Korean, but she was talking about cultural difference. But I'm hearing you say it right here, right now. Maybe she meant Americans at large tend to think more so, not everybody, not all parts of the culture. Black community can be a little bit different and unique, but tending to see in Korea, in her experience, that everybody's ethos was more based on what I could do for the other person. Her joy, she's like, my joy is how I can make him happy today, how I can be of service to whoever. But in my household, it is that part of me that wants to give, and he is operating by the same, platitude. He is actually saying to himself, what can I do to serve her? And there is joy. Sometimes we are looking for what the other person going to do for us. And there should be a joy, hopefully, with both of you, because that's what's going to take. From what I'm reading, I'm still learning, but from what I'm gathering, it's still going to take some of that. Oh my goodness. They say I'm moving to Michigan. Apparently we got to do
relationships are not about give and take. They're about give and receive. And I think with the dynamic you just explained is because both people have an understanding that if we do our part, then together this is going to be good. It's going to work. We're going to have harmony, create balance in the home. And so that's another mindset issue that I notice people have is they're still stuck in the get. What is in it for me?
We're not ready then. We're not ready, guys. Are you ready for
Casandra, real love? I just want to double down on what y'all just said. So one thing my husband and I did back before we were married is we took a bunch of different personality tests. Actually, my husband just walked in. Hey, babe. We just took a bunch of personality tests, right? Oh, and so we know each other's personalities. We know what we like and what we don't like. And more specifically, we know each other's love languages. And so we literally make it a point to try to outgive each other.
Okay, guest appearance.
You see that guest appearance?
We might as well make a guest appearance then. Okay, guest appearance. Okay, just in case.
Yeah, we literally, that's something that we do is try to outgive each other. So one thing I love is Reese cups, right? My husband is like constantly bringing home Reese cups. One thing my husband loves is hoodies or graphic tees. I'm constantly scouring the internet. Can you turn off the corn for me, sweetie? It's scouring the internet, girl. Real life over here.
Exactly. It's okay. We have a real household.
Yeah, scouring the internet to see what new graphic tee can I get him that would bring him joy. Just little things, like not always just looking to see what my husband can get me. What can I give him to brighten up his day? What can I text him while he was at work to encourage him, right? So those things are extremely important.
They giving y'all the game. I don't know if y'all know the game yet, but they giving y'all the game for real. But it is to be able, hopefully. Now, let me ask you about your readiness season. So you had dated. They said you had dated and did the single life all to the yes, Michigan. Okay, they got you in the comments. So were you also doing that self reflection and building from the inside out type of movement before you?
Yeah, like Coach Casandra hit the nail on the head. My kind of pause from dating and relationships so I can get my life together happened between the age of 28 and 29. And I took a year off from dating. I didn't go off social media, but I have a business and I do financial success coaching and lifestyle design work with women anyway. So my platform is basically all women anyway. And I really just sat there and said, what do I need to heal from? What from my childhood do I need to overcome? What do I want in a husband? And what type of wife should that husband desire, right? And so I realized not only I made a list of what things I'm looking for in a man, but I'm also saying, okay, ma'am, what will make you a good wife to where when he sees you, he has no choice but to say, you know what, I'm putting a ring on it, I'm locking it down. And so that took me about a year to do that work, from like February to October, a little bit less than a year. And so then once I got back on the dating scene, I met him in November, and then we were engaged the following August, and then following February, we got married.
What? Wonderful. Like I'm y'all, anything is possible.
And you know,
Anything is
lovely.
possible. Yes, go ahead.
There's a woman in the comments that Lovely Peace, I think her name is. She said, Coach Cassandra, you said something about how whenever you get into an argument, you have to reflect on what you did and what you could have done better.
Yeah.
And that's what she said. And I was like, that is so important, even in my marriage, even with my children. If I'm frustrated with somebody, I always take a step back and say, what do I need to do better? Well, how can I show up better in this situation versus always trying to point the blame? And so that's the same way I took the approach to my dating life. I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted. And I said, hold up, the common denominator is me. What can I change to where I attract better men and more high quality men and men who are more aligned with what I truly desire?
Absolutely.
I'm appreciative of everything. Y'all getting some nuggets today. But most importantly, I hope you guys are seeing two wonderful examples. Both had kids or a child.
Yep. Single mothers, do not throw single mothers away.
I know. I was like, can we stop throwing single moms under the bus?
And again, it's these new age men.
The conversations I've had, they like,
ladies, get out into the real world. These YouTube men, you don't want them. They fun to listen to. But don't marry these YouTube men. These are not the men for us, ladies. They are for
Tara. I'm gonna have to drop you down, Tara. I know you getting it. we start no be nothing. But I hear you guys. The real life says there is something, you know, special that women at every stage can experience if we mentally prepare, if we get rid of some of the baggage, if we are also, you know, in anticipation, having that sense of expectation and desire for. And again, not everybody's supposed to be married. Not everybody should be married. Not everybody's going to be married. I'm not, you know, going to, you know, impress upon my audience that this is the only way to be. This is for people who want to find something. So don't think I'm discounting anyone who may be saying, that ain't me, girl. It might not be. This might not be your conversation. And that's okay too. I just want to make sure, you know, we don't overly glamorize or say that there's more value than less value okay. So I just want to counter some of the statements I see, like, no, everybody's not gonna get married, we hope, but it's not necessarily the Bible tell you that, you know, they're not necessarily going to. But if this is your desire, I wanted to hopefully open the conversation up that gives you hope in understanding that don't listen to all the negative stuff. Stop listening to everybody passed on to YouTube. If somebody else send me another YouTube, stop sending me the YouTube.
You know what I saturated myself with? I remember during this time I was training for like half marathons and full marathons. I used to do a lot of running events. And I would just listen. I would listen to like Joyce Meyer about forgiveness. I would listen to teachings about how to elevate my mindset. I just listened to stuff to help me heal and grow as a person. That's what I listened to.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think we're doing some of that here.
Yeah.
So y'all please drop Miss Tara Jones Williams, one of my moderators, her channel. Girl, you got some good word. There's a lot I can learn. And all of us who are seeking some kind of love in whatever form may be able to pick up in terms of, I'm thinking, good, solid practices, both in the preparation stage and in the management stage. Y'all gonna get the love, and then you're not gonna be able to. We're gonna be able to
manage it because it's work. It's good work. It's good work, but it's work.
Terry, come back up. Terry, I see you. All right, thank you, Tara. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming up, doll. Thank you so much. I see another person. Nice to meet you again, or see you again. I seen another person come up, and I think she may have dropped off. If you guys, I will drop the link again. We're talking real love for ambitious women. I'm here with Casandra Austin-McDonald. She is a mindset and self-love coach. One of the biggest takeaways for today that I've already gotten is making sure, or received, people don't like to use God, but that I've received is to just make sure I'm constantly doing that self-awareness maintenance and making sure, as you put it, the emotional state is right. Because we're not talking about the end result. We often need to start within the emotional state. And I do that all the time. If I feel hungry, if I feel angry, if I feel that, I'm like, what am I feeling within my body and why? If I feel tense in my face, I don't ever notice sometimes if my eyebrows are furling, I'm like, why are my eyebrows furling? Stop it. What am I feeling and what am I thinking about? Or what is causing that emotional state? What is causing that tension? Oftentimes we need to do that check before we go talk to that loved one.
Exactly.
a child, even whoever,
Exactly.
because you were in this state. And again, it has nothing to do with that person that's living in your house or who is in your space. So
Yeah.
I think that is an excellent word in terms of making sure we are kind of, staying in balance, guys. We are in a difficult time. It's COVID. They know what I mean by that. And it's a lot going on. And we don't have, all these outlets. We don't have the social interaction. We don't hang out as much with the friends, with the family. And, the energy, as he's saying, thank you, Kid Nardak. That's another way of putting it. The energy is everything. So before you bring your energy to that person, back on up. Listen to what's going on in you. Check it first. Whoa. I'm intense. My husband or whoever walking through the door. Am I approaching him with that intense energy? Am I approaching my child with that intense energy? And it ain't got nothing to do with him, but now y'all arguing and it starts over again. And then what's reflected back to you now hurts you. And it all started because we didn't clear ourselves, clear our minds. Even at work, we got to do that. We got to stop and say, "Whoa, what am I mad at? What is hurting? What is making me a little off? Is it what that person just said? Should I address what they just said? Do I send an email? Whatever." Yes, y'all know about COVID. Stop acting like y'all brand new to the word. What's up? Y'all know about COVID. Coach Cass, I'll give you the backstory. They know what time it is. It's especially COVID in Florida. You know what? L Dotto, you know what? The back is open. I did have a Terry in the back, but I think she dropped off. I'd love to get a couple more folks in the back before we let Coach Cass go. Again, this conversation has to do with ambitious women, and we got a lot of people in the chat. Whether you are an ambitious woman or not, I think it will be helpful because I think sometimes, we are labeling people out of relationships. Oh my God. From what I'm hearing, there's so many people that want relationships or are seeking, another try. They've had one, it didn't work out. Okay, again, no label. And we want to make sure we have cleared inner space within ourselves before we are stepping into somebody else's space.
Yeah.
It is hard to do. It is a work. When they say you got to do the work, Iana loves saying that. You got to do the work.
I say it all the time. Borrow it from her. Do the work.
Like, we got to borrow that because it's real. Because once we enter that other person's realm, I'm sorry, my internet don't want me to be, y'all know it. They still on my COVID. But yeah, come on up if you want to, Coach. So we talked about your experience, you getting married at 36, single mom. We talked about you also dealing with the effects of childhood trauma, an abusive dad, alcoholic, and how repeating those patterns early on led you to the wrong type of men. When we talk about the maintenance now, and now you got boo is in your house.
Yes.
That's what it is saying. Clean up before you move in is another wonderful. Thank y'all. Tell me about the maintenance piece now, because now when we have boo, we sometimes ruin it. So what do you see needs to be the main focus once you are in that relationship?
That's primarily why I say self-love is a lifelong journey, because the work doesn't stop when you get the person. You don't stop working on being better and personal growth and your mindset and loving yourself so that you can give that love to someone else. It doesn't stop because you get the person. There have been times in my husband and I's relationship where I notice where if I was feeling some type of way about him or something, and I realized that, well, you kind of fell off from your self-love practices. That's why I call it my sacred self-love practices. I have a routine every day. What do I do to pray and connect with God and exercise and all that? And so if I had moments where I fell off, it affected my mood. It affected my attitude. And so that's part of my responsibility as a woman and as a wife, is to make sure that I'm being responsible for self and managing self, so that when I show up with him, that I am showing up in a way where we can coexist and we can get along and we can have fun and we have peace. One of the biggest things we both value about our relationship is the peace. And you can't buy peace, and there's no price on peace. And so when there's no peace in this house, best believe within 24 hours it's getting resolved. We don't play that. We don't play that in the McDonald household, okay?
No, but listen, to have a partner that thinks like that, just like you, to have a partner that said, oh, no, something ain't right.
Yeah, we'll play
Let's
that.
fix this thing.
We're going to talk.
Because I have friends who talk about that, and like if they don't know how to argue well with the person, like in a healthy way, like if you have this argument and all of a sudden it's like, is this the last argument, or is this the argument that's going to do it? They said, I've talked to some of my married friends that talk about that, and they're like, girl, now I have anxiety as to whether it's going to, fall apart. So now, girl, y'all say we want this or what we think we want. And then you have to have that new set of skills.
Yes.
Like you said, the inner work still continues, but the new set of skills that must be employed daily. Yes. So that there's Zaddy vibes for real. What they say, hold up.
That's what I call my home.
I don't like how I
call my husband Poppy.
Oh, okay, Poppy. So yeah. I love it. They said, does a woman, what Ace, what you talking about? Does a woman have the power to guide? Oh, this came up yesterday. So the lead attorney who was talking to us about his personal experience, what a wonderful conversation. First of all, shout out to the lead attorney. TLA was given the game. His personal experience was so, revealing. I was so glad he was so transparent, but he was talking about, he's seen women. If it's on us, let me say, I interpreted him as saying, he said we could grab them by, I think he said the nostrils, and get them to the altar. He's seen it done so many times that if we weren't trying to do that, if we haven't done that, it's on us. So is it up to the woman to kind of guide the man to the altar? Do they do that? Does a woman have to do that? This is a great question. Thank you, Ace, for reminding me of that.
I'm making all these facial expressions.
I'm about to say, it sounds like we might have to do it. I see
I'm in my head, like processing. So I do believe conversations need to be had of what it is that you want, but ultimately, it's the man's decision. He's the one who's going to buy the ring. He's the one who's going to get on the knee. He's the one who's going to ask. I believe that the way that the woman is showing up and being in relationship with him and letting her intentions be known, that I do want to get married at some point, helps that person to know that. But I don't know about this idea of this notion that you force the man to the altar. I don't know what kind of men are that suggestible that are, doing that. But I believe from what I've seen and experienced that it's ultimately the man's decision if he wants to get married, and then it's the woman's decision if she wants to accept the proposal.
I hear you, but from a man's perspective, it was very interesting. One man's perspective, he was just like, a lot of these dudes wake up, roll over, and they on a honeymoon in Jamaica. They don't know how they got there. And I'm like, what? I don't know about that. Maybe he's talking about younger men. I don't know. What you guys think when TLA said that yesterday? He was
I think our story's different because, like I said, we met and dated and got married in our 30s. And so my husband and I both have one son each. We both experienced co-parenting. So we had different experiences coming together, which I think cultivates a different level of maturity and expectations.
Okay, so you guys are, I'm glad you illuminated a little bit more on that, because I'm sure you guys have so much in common. Each have a child, each having, to deal with all those other things. But she's saying no, y'all. She's saying the man is making the decision. So I agree.
How do you force someone to go buy a ring?
People apparently there's stories that people showed up with rings and said, "You gonna give it to me."
I don't want to force somebody to be with me.
Hello, same thing with Lovely. She said, "You cannot force." Suzette, hey Jill, welcome. I don't know. Maybe our counterparts, like for like, right? I don't know. So TLA is a modern man. He is not traditional. I don't know. I saw maybe some traditional in him. ASP. He has come out of a prior relationship from the ages of 30 to 40, 10 years. He dated around and he entered another relationship that seems kind of serious. So in my mind, I'm like, well, this guy wants, and he talked about monogamy and other things. So I don't know. I saw a lot of traditional in him. Love your opinion. Tell me why you don't think he's traditional, because he seems like he has a little bit of that to me.
And everybody has different perspectives based on their life experiences too.
Yeah. I think there was some there. I'm going to open it back one more time. I'm going to see if anybody else wants to come up. I'm enjoying the conversation. I have none other than Miss Casandra Austin-McDonald. She is a self-love expert and mindset coach. She's talking about how ambitious women find real love. She's used herself as a wonderful, I don't know what you was noping, Miss Shernon. I just realized that. I'm like, wait a minute. I want to get to some more comments. I just dropped the link. If you did, what did you do as well? I disagree, Ace. We don't even know him, but he gives up. I agree. That's what I got. Very traditional vibes. I don't know if you got to catch any of the interview. It was a 3 hours of TLA, but we went on for a little bit, maybe 2 after that. But he is a force in the manosphere on YouTube in general. He is a divorce attorney who has introduced me to YouTubing.
Oh, very cool.
And so I got to turn the tables yesterday. If you missed the stream, get on that stream. It was quite funny. People thought it was very entertaining.
Oh, he's probably seen a lot. Divorce attorney.
Yeah. So I was trying to pick his brain to understand, what have you seen? What makes marriages stop? When does the breakdown happen? What did he learn from his marriage? And he was very respectful. Obviously, he didn't want to talk a lot about the people, because he wanted to be, think people grow and people change, and hindsight is 2020. But he gave so many good nuggets in terms of why marriages break down and why it is important, what it is important to seek. And I think at the core of it was just like compatibility of personality. He was like, you can have the best looks, you can have the best whatever, money can be long, but if that personality breakdown happens, you going to see him. You go head in the wrong direction, and how that person thinks and how they approach life. He's like, that's far more important. And then you do have the attractiveness, etc. that goes. So what should ambitious women do? Should we be making a list? This was a whole big thing. Women make lists. Women make lists. We are told to at the empowerment events, write it down. What they say? Write the vision, make it plain. Was it Habakkuk in the Bible? Habakkuk?
Yeah.
They laughed at us. The men were like, we don't make lists. What are you talking about? What list? And in one of my shows,
that's because men are simple.
Men are simple. Like they keep.
Men are simple. We're the ones that are complex. Men are very simple. What part of the conversations my husband and I always have about, we're always talking about these topics, but he always talks about how certain types of men don't care about what you do or what you have. They care more about who you are. And so they're just looking at who you are as a person, as a woman, what's your character like, what's your mindset like, what's your attitude like. And so a lot of times, driven and ambitious women may be showing up and they're saying, I have this and I do this. Whereas this man may be looking through a different lens, and he's looking at, well, how do you present yourself and how are you interacting with me? And how is your attitude? And, are you open? Are you closed off? And so we're seeing two different perspectives for one, but for two, women are complex for many reasons. We're emotional creatures. We're very hormonal beings as well. So we have to learn how to separate that and what I call the Disney syndrome.
Well,
from the Disney syndrome and getting clear on. So I'm not against lists, but the list needs to be intentional with what are the characteristics, what are the values, and what are the beliefs that you want in that relationship and in that person.
So we're not against a list. Is there this and I think it was YouTubers Gone Wild was talking about this whole concept of manifest your man, manifest it. Are you big on that?
I call myself a guy girl, and I admittedly I had a part of my journey where I got caught up in the whole manifestation world because it's intriguing. It is intriguing, but when you break down the philosophy of manifestation, the word manifest means to make real. It means to make real. So really what you're doing is you're just making a desire you have real. And so when I look at it from that lens, I'm like, okay, so then when you make something real, that means you have to create it. You have to do something. And so you have to start then looking at, well, what am I doing to create something that I want? And that's where all the stuff we've been talking about tonight comes in. Your behaviors, your attitudes, your language, your positioning, and things like that come into play.
Sorry, I love I'm dropping the link one last time. We are going to sign off here just shortly. But if you guys want to come up, the back is open. So please, if anybody else wants to come and join the conversation, you are welcome to join me and coach and expert Casandra Austin-McDonald. She does the self-love, guys. So everything we've been talking about that we need to do to prepare, as well as mindset. So some of us need help in those areas, and it's okay. This is what this platform is about.
While we're waiting to see if anybody else, if you don't mind, I wanted to share some opportunities if people were interested.
Yes.
On Monday, the 8th, November 8th, I am having a coach-a-thon inside of my private Facebook community, which is called The Empowered Self, Win in Love and Life. It's a private Facebook group. And I'm having the Empowered to Win in Love and Life coach-a-thon. And so if you join that group and answer the 3 questions, you will be able to get access inside of there and join us Monday evening at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for a coach-a-thon. So if you have a burning question or you want to hear more of this type of stuff, join us there. And then on Friday, November 12th, at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm partnering myself, a lady named Sorabel, and another lady named Precious. We're doing a masterclass called Sex, Love, and Money for Ambitious Women Masterclass. And so that will be on Friday, November 12th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on all of our Facebook platforms. And so all you have to do is
tell me the name again. This is, they asking, how do I join? That sounds like it's like everybody's like,
Sex, Love, and Money.
So yes, and money. They adding the money. We just talked about the real love. They talk about. So tell me the Facebook group. Tell me what it is.
The Facebook is called The Empowered Self.
The Empowered Self.
Win in Love and Life.
The Empowered Self. I'm just dropping it so you guys can remember it and you can watch it back again. The Empowered Self, Win in Love and Life.
Yep.
All right. And that's the Facebook group, her Facebook group, guys. And she's doing a coach-a-thon. When? Tell the dates one more time.
Monday, November 8th, this coming Monday.
I don't have no stream, so y'all can go over there and support. Thank you.
At 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, I put it on both. And then you said the second stream. So Monday you have one, and November 12th you also have the coach. Tell us one more time.
Sex, Love, and Money Masterclass for ambitious women who want it all.
Yay.
And that's going to be Friday, November 12th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh wow! I'm so excited for both of those. I'm gonna check my schedule. If I'm not streaming, I might have to be in there. You never know who you're gonna meet. They told me to get out there, so we're gonna do that, guys. I've enjoyed having Coach Cass. I'm gonna give one more opportunity, y'all. Show some love. Thank you to all my super chats. I don't have any super chats. I only have Cash App. So if you want to support what we're doing here, please do drop a comment. Hit the like button, and most importantly, subscribe. And then if you feel led, please show some love on the Cash App. Thank you to all my super chatters already. I couldn't believe it on the Cash App. So I'm going to put the link in there. It's the last call. Anybody want to come on up? They talking about Mercy. What's going to be on there? I'm putting the link. Thank you to my moderators. RM, always on the job. Gaston's World, always on the job. And Gail Lockett, holding me down. Thank you to my moderators. You guys are fantastic. So they talking about Mercy. Y'all trying to get in that chat? Yes. So this is the name of it. Facebook, the group is The Empowered Self, Win in Love and Life. The Empowered Self. Look for her Facebook group. Win in Love. We're growing all communities. Yes. So let's go ahead and go over. Show some love.
Thank you.
I help somebody. Somebody needs to be in there. That's why I feel led. Say it again. All right. Win in Love and Life. And November 8th and November 12th, she has some upcoming programs. I appreciate all of you. You guys have been kind of bashful. I saw one other person wanting to come up in the back. I appreciate if Suzette wasn't, what does this say? If Suzette was a woman, she wouldn't have time. Oh Lord, praise be to God. But I appreciate you. Thanks, Philip. We got so many comments with so many different opinions. Trust me.
Yes, I got to get ready to get off to make sure dinner's ready for my mister.
Oh, yes. Since we're women, Philip, we're going to go. Since we're women, Philip, this is about to be fire. I hear you. Tara Jones, thank you. Tara Jones Williamson, thank you so much. Thank you again so much for watching. ACB showing love. Appreciate you guys. Please hit that like. Please hit that subscribe. And most importantly, share. Thank you once again to Coach Casandra Austin-McDonald. I'll put your stuff in the description so everybody can find you. Appreciate it. One love, y'all. Thanks for watching. See you next time.